Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate, everybody. We've moved away from the noisy A658 now and up into the countryside. And what countryside? There's some beautiful views out here. I've already seen a couple of them on my drive into this place. This is a very, very small village and one that's a challenge to park in because, as you can see, these roads are not all that wide. I did find a spot though, so let's go for a walk. Here, we're in the parish of Stainburn. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Now then everyone, today we have Stainburn, which is what I imagine most of Harrogate to be like as we delve deeper into it. Stainburn is a village that's dominated by farming and it's surrounded by some of the most gorgeous Yorkshire countryside we've seen so far. It's located 10 miles away from Leeds, just to the north of the River Wharfe. The name Stainburn is derived from Old English and it means stone stream, suggesting the village once suffered from a lack of fresh water supplies many centuries ago. It was historically a township in the parish of Kirkby Overblow in the West Riding of Yorkshire. Now very much North Yorkshire, where it's been located since 1974, Stainburn can be best described as a sleepy village. Its main features are the 12th century St Mary's Church, which is now redundant, and the huge Almscliffe Crag, which straddles the boundary between Stainburn and North Rigton. Its boundaries also include the hamlet of Braythorn, which has a chapel with a carving on its wall. There's a few local businesses here too, including a furniture dealers and a luxury outdoor living space manufacturer. There's no less than 3 mountain bike trails here too, if you're that way inclined. Above all though, Stainburn's biggest pull would be the magnificent scenery it offers on all sides. Let's go and climb some rocks and enjoy it from on high, like so many others do in this peaceful corner of Harrogate. Welcome to Stainburn, folks. It's basically one street, Low Lane, which twists and turns its way around a small collection of buildings. It has no amenities. It once had a school though, and that's the house on your screen now. The nearest school now is in Farnley. There are suggestions around the place that it might have once been larger. This empty piece of land has a few earthworky mounds. There's no doubting the local scenery is fabulous here. Just strolling along the road, you get some great views to the south. Stainburn is a popular place if you're a rambler or a mountain biker. There are no less than 3 trails you can attempt here. They are the Descent Line Trail, the Warren Boulder Trail and the Red Loop Trail. Industrially, farms are king out here. J.B. Liddell & Son operate Paddock Hole Farm, the largest farm in the village, which supplies Leeds-based food giant Arla. The old dairy nearby is now a holiday let. There's no post office, but I did find this Victorian wall box a few steps away. The road ends at a small triangle where it meets a lane that runs between Braythorn and Leithley, and we're turning right. I'll tell you what, there's definitely some Emmerdale vibes about this place. Makes a bit of sense when you think that Harewood House is literally just over the border, where of course Emmerdale is filmed. Now once you've got through the village, you're at this point here and you feel very enclosed by these big tall trees and hedges and things. You feel like you've walked into the middle of nowhere. Well, you haven't, because if you go up this hill that you can see behind me, that takes you to Stainburn's little church. Let's go and check that out next. Perhaps the biggest attraction in Stainburn is its redundant church, dedicated to St Mary, originally built in the 12th century. It was a chapel of ease to Kirkby Overblow and has since been altered and restored, most recently by Hodgson Fowler in 1894. It was declared redundant in 1975. This tablet on the outer wall of the porch tells us it's no longer used for worship. But as with all redundant churches, there are efforts to keep them open. This one is under the church's Conservation Trust. Inside, the chancel arch and font are both Norman, whilst the pews date from the 16th and 17th centuries. Unusually, the chancel is lower and narrower than the nave. This is the perpendicular east window, which has 3 lights. This tablet on the wall is for Thomas Hutton, a Stainburn man who moved away to London and died in Surrey in 1839. So the way that the locals keep this church maintained is by having some jam for sale. Here we are, some jam here. There's a little table with plenty of it on. I'll just show you. Here we go. There it is. And there's a little box where you can donate some money for the jam, and that money is used to keep the church going. So here's the little note that tells you all about it. I'll just read this to you. It says, "Thank you for helping us to raise funds for the maintenance of our lovely church and grounds. The fruit for the jam is, wherever possible, sourced locally, either by early morning foraging or donation by local residents. The raspberries are from a farm at the Leithley end of the lane. As the ingredients have got more expensive, please donate what you can for this exclusive jam. The minimum suggested is £3 or to £3.50. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. You can come into this church, you can buy some jam that's been made locally, and the money that you donate will be used to keep this church going. There's some interesting flavours of jam here. Like this one here, we've got Glenberry. This is mixed berries, vanilla and Glenlivet. Not heard of Glenberry before, I have to admit. That's another Glenberry, that one. Gander Plum, that one. What have we got here? That's another Glenberry. I'm trying to find a different flavour if I can. Let's see. 1 second. At the moment it's all Glenberry or Gander Plum, basically. But there are some other flavours. This little thing here tells you the other flavours that are usually on offer. We've got gooseberry and elderflower, the Bishop, which is summer berries, anise and cardamom, raspberry, love it, vanilla black. That one's made with black currants from this person's garden. Bunbury, which is mixed berries and drambuie, whatever that is, I don't know what that is. Lady Love, which is raspberry, blueberry, mango, and a touch of sloe gin. Wow. There's all sorts you can buy here, and it all goes to the upkeep of this church. Let's make our way back to the car now. There's a footpath which runs from this churchyard back to where I parked. We're not done with this one just yet, though, because even though Stainburn is such a small place, it does have another settlement within its boundaries called Braythorn. I'm going to drive through that, and then we're going to head to Almscliffe Crag to end this episode. So it took me a while to find the path that I wanted out of the churchyard, but trust me guys, it was worth the wait, because this path crosses a field, and all around you here you've got beautiful Yorkshire scenery. Check this out. Isn't this just immense? You can see down into the valley. Stainburn village is down there, my car is down there. We've got to cross a little brook in a moment, so I might just keep the camera rolling for a second or so, because you never know, this brook might be quite pretty. This seems to drop down a hill just here. It does, quite a steep hill. Okay, fair enough. I'll find my way down there and I'll turn the camera back on when I reach the brook. Okay, so we're down the hill. I've reached the brook. Got to cross this stile. There we go, there's the brook. It's not as pretty as I thought it was going to be, but even so. So we're going to get across this, and then the path turns to the right through that field over there, and that takes us, whoops, back to the car. Braythorn is an even smaller hamlet than Stainburn. If you drive past the church and follow the road, basically Braythorn is the collection of houses and farms between it and the road back towards Almscliffe Crag. This is variously spelt. On Google Maps it's written without an E on the end, but many properties here, and this road, Braythorn Lane, usually spell it with. Braythorn's most notable landmark is a chapel, which I slowed down here to capture. This is now a house, but it was built as a Methodist church. People know this for an ordnance survey mark that's carved into the wall, a picture of which I found for you. As the road continues and bends towards Almscliffe Crag, you pass the entrances to some local businesses. One of them leads to Gilcroft Farm, which has an antique furniture dealers. Named Air Valley Antiques, they were established in 1993, and I've linked their Facebook page below. Gilcroft also has Oliver's Huts, who make luxury outdoor living spaces. Oh, and Braythorn also has an orchard too. To the east of the village, and often known as Great Almscliffe to distinguish it from a smaller rocky outcrop, is Almscliffe Crag. The crag was formed due to the softer adjacent shale and mudstone eroding at a faster rate than the harder wearing millstone you see here. The name was first recorded in the early 13th century in the form Almscliffe, supposedly from the female personal name Almus. Another theory links the name to Celtic languages, which suggest Almscliffe could mean fire altar. That sounds ominous. The crag is one of the best rock climbing locations in the area and was featured in the first ever rock climbing guide published in 1913. It's been used extensively as a filming location. From 1998 to 2005, it appeared in the opening titles of the ITV soap Emmerdale. An earlier TV appearance was as the planet Obsidian in an episode of the BBC sci-fi series Blake 7, which aired in 1980. So I'm not climbing all the way to the top. To be fair, where I'm stood here is not far from the top anyway, so it wouldn't make a great deal of difference. I've purposely not shown you the view that I can see. Behind the camera right now is a magnificent vista into the Yorkshire countryside. Absolutely amazing, fantastic. But the reason I'm not showing you it is because Almscliffe Crag is on the parish boundary between Stainburn and North Rigton. And this episode is going to end right here, and if you want to see that view, you'll have to come back next week for the North Rigton episode where I'm going to show you it. Yes folks, that view is well worth coming back for, let me tell you. We are starting to work our way into a recognised area of outstanding natural beauty, so it'll be enough to whet your appetite if you like that sort of thing. Join me next week for a place that's much more of a village than Stainburn, and at last, one with a pub. Thanks for watching this video folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.